Now at 10 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, the brother of a man killed in a hit-and-run crash in Yoakum speaks how his actions help progress the investigation. Plus, President Trump escalates tensions with NATO allies over a major snub, the message that's rattling international partners. And Victoria honors a civil rights icon with its annual march, the message of unity bringing generations together.
And we have a strong cold front here in our forecast here, making its way down to Texas. I'm sure you've seen a lot of this on social media, but we'll debrief about what this really means for us here in Victoria coming up.
And catch Cuervo's Arissa Carbonera sharing her journey from Gobbler legend to college athlete. Don't miss this exclusive update with sports director Max Williams.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Shawna Currie. Don Brubaker has the night off. Well, new details on a deadly hit and run over the weekend that killed a Yoakum man on his way to work. 25 News Now reporter Trenton Whiting is in Yoakum with where the investigation stands and the impact it's having on his family.
Well, Shawna, I'm here on the corner of East Hugo Street and South Street, where the police department says nearby they found the body of 30-year-old Emilio Garcia, who was killed this weekend in a deadly hit and run.
All he did was work and come home. Help take care of his brother in the wheelchair. He was a great guy. And without him, I don't know what I'm going to do now. It's going to be way harder than it had been for me, especially without him.
That's Emilio's brother, John Garcia, who has been left to pick up the pieces after Emilio's death, tonight lighting candles in his honor.
He was not only my brother, he was my best friend. I depended on him for everything in my life because I am in a wheelchair. He was my legs.
John says his concern over YPD's urgency led him to seek some answers of his own.
It wasn't going as smoothly as I like. So I took matters into my own hand and I did the investigation and I found the car.
The police now have a suspect vehicle in their possession, found in Sweet Home, and awaiting a forensic sweep for DNA that could identify the driver.
So hot, man. He chose to take someone's life for driving recklessly. He needs to be held accountable.
John's search for justice for his brother may depend on what they find.
Everyone's going to miss him. I love you, bro. I'm never going to stop fighting for you until justice is served. And I will always have you with me.
Those with information are urged to call the Lavaca County Crime Stoppers line at 361-594-3700. Reporting from Yoakum, Trent Whiting, KAVU-TV, 25 News Now.
A family member is speaking out after a crash claimed the lives of 3 relatives over the weekend on Highway 59. Carlos Lopez of Corpus Christi says his uncle, Robert Barrera, along with his cousin, Roxana Ibarra, and her husband, Marcus Ibarra, died in a multi-vehicle crash on Highway 59 in Victoria Saturday. Lopez says the family was traveling from Robstown, where they live, to Houston to attend a Houston Rockets game. Roxana and Marcus Ibarra were educators in Robstown. Robert Barrera was a Purple Heart recipient who had served in the Vietnam War. Lopez says the Robstown community remains in shock.
We're still shocked. This is an unimaginable story of tragedy, heartbrokenness that has created a ripple effect throughout the coastal bend. Often we see maybe perhaps one person pass away, but when you lose 2 parents and leave 4 children behind, a grandfather that loses his life as well, and they no longer have their grandfather either, it's an unimaginable pain.
Victoria police say a truck tractor towing a semi-trailer hit the Toyota Sequoia the family members were riding in. Those vehicles then hit 2 other passenger vehicles and a commercial freight liner. All but one of the other people involved in the accident were treated at area hospitals. Victoria County Commissioners will meet in the morning with several items on the agenda tied to the county's new mental health behavioral facility. Commissioners will consider moving forward with early construction work and allowing the county auditor to process those early payments from the general fund. They'll also look at approving Precinct 2's 2025 racial profiling report, along with reclassifying a part-time clerk position to a full-time assistant director for veteran services. The meeting starts at 10 in the morning on the second floor of the Victoria County Courthouse. Well, enjoy some warm weather while we have it, because we are in for a very cold chill in just a few days. Kind of keeping an eye on it to see exactly what we're going to get out of that, though.
Yes, we're definitely eyeing this cold front. It's definitely going to be one of the stronger ones that we're going to see this season, because there is a bit of freezing rain with it. Now, not necessarily down here specifically just yet. We're still working out the kinks of that, but let me show you this list real quick. This is what we know as of right now. We know that it's a strong cold front. We know that there's going to be precipitation likely, and here are the two uncertainties. It's the type of precipitation we could see from Saturday night to Sunday morning, and the timing of how everything will pan out, plus the location and how many amounts. Those last 2 points will not be found out here tonight, but it will be found out here within the next 2 to 3 days, and that's how we will precisely get more of a better forecast of what's going on. But if you want to know, well, how do we figure out if we're going to get some of that precipitation? Here's what we're going to look at. This is the types of precipitation and how you see them. So warm air is going to allow for obviously just rain to fall. Now you do have a line of cold air, where it's for the freezing line right there. So freezing rain is rain that comes and on contact with the ground freezes, because at the surface it is freezing. And then we have sleet here, which is rain that thaws out and it refreezes before it makes contact with the ground. And obviously snow is, the freezing line is obviously a lot farther north, so it doesn't need to melt to come on down south. So right now we're going to be watching for this line right here, the rain and the freezing rain. I'll talk about more of that coming up in the full forecast. Shawna?
Overseas tonight, the death toll rising after a train crash in Spain. ABC's Tom Sufi-Burridge has the latest and what we know as investigators are combing the scene.
Tonight, a complex recovery operation is underway as investigators comb the mangled wreckage of two high-speed trains that collided in southern Spain. Several rail cars were crushed into a ravine after the end of a train heading north to Madrid, travelling roughly 130 miles per hour, derailed, crossing into the path of another train heading in the opposite direction. At least 40 people confirmed dead. Investigators here fear that number will rise as more are missing. Mayor Rafael Reyes, one of the first on the scene.
You're grateful to the local people who just got down there and helped in any way they could to try and get people off those trains in that horrific situation.
Today, crews meticulously examining that straight section of recently renovated track. A part of it seen in this official photo may have ruptured, but Spain's transport minister saying it's not clear if it was a cause or consequence of the accident.
Officials say the train which initially derailed was relatively new and had passed a safety test just 4 days ago. Tom Sufi-Burridge, ABC News in Cordoba, southern Spain.
Russia carried out an airstrike in Ukraine, hitting civilian residential areas today. One strike hit a private home, killing a woman at the scene and hurting 9 others. At least 30 private houses were damaged. In a separate strike today, Russia damaged an industrial facility and energy infrastructure supplying the city of Terrakov. Residents in Tehran say they are worried about rising prices as signs of recent unrest still line the streets. Burned out cars and damaged buildings remain after days of protests that turned deadly. Authorities and social media posts suggest things have been mostly quiet for about a week now, following anti-government protests that began in late December. An Iranian official speaking anonymously to Reuters says the confirmed death toll has topped 5,000 people, including about 500 members of the security forces. The president now linking the Nobel snub to his threat to take Greenland. ABC's Mary Bruce is at the White House with more as protesters overseas wear their own kind of red caps.
Tonight, President Trump lashing out at NATO allies as he escalates his push for Greenland, saying because he did not win the Nobel Peace Prize, he no longer feels, quote, an obligation to think purely of peace. It came after Norway's prime minister texted Trump pleading we all should work to take this down and de-escalate, proposing a phone call to talk it out. Instead, Trump texting back, "Dear Jonas, considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars plus, I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace." although it will always be predominant, but can now think about what is good and proper for the United States of America. He's very preoccupied with the Nobel Peace Prize, Norway's prime minister told reporters, and I've explained to him many times that it's an award given by a Norwegian committee, not by the Norwegian government. America's NATO allies rattled as Trump sounds increasingly determined to own Greenland, which has been part of the Kingdom of Denmark for more than 300 years. In Copenhagen, thousands taking to the streets.
Greenland, not for sale! Greenland, not for sale!
Wearing Trump's signature red hats, these saying "Make America Go Away." 8 NATO countries, including France, Germany, and the UK, moving forces to Greenland as a show of support. Over the weekend, Trump threatening new tariffs on those countries, 10% in February, jumping to 25% in June, until a, quote, deal is reached for the complete and total purchase of Greenland.
The use of tariffs against allies is completely wrong.
And President Trump heads to Europe later this week for the World Economic Forum in Davos. It's there he's supposed to unveil his Board of Peace. Now, one leader being invited to join the group that's raising some eyebrows, Russian President Vladimir Putin. This board is intended to help rebuild Gaza, but it seems President Trump has larger ambitions for the group that go far beyond just that conflict. Mary Bruce, ABC News, the White House.
The president of France plans to decline an invitation to serve on Trump's Board of Peace. The board is seen as a key step in the United Nations-backed American plan to demilitarize and rebuild Gaza. The board, headed by Trump, will include former British Prime Minister Tony Blair, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, and U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. French officials say the charter does not only apply to Gaza, but also the Middle East, which is one of the reasons Macron is declining. If you see news happening, give us a call in our newsroom. That number is 361-576-0026, or send us an email to staff@crossroadstoday.com. The Old Landmark organization led this year's Martin Luther King Jr. March from Palestine Baptist Church to Bethlehem Baptist Church in Victoria. 25 News Now reporter Ray Mosley walked alongside the marchers and has more on what that atmosphere felt like.
The Old Landmark organization has been hosting its annual march through Victoria for more than 20 years, honoring the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Organizer of the march, Cynthia Robinson, says she felt an overwhelming sense of joy seeing people from all walks of life coming together to celebrate King's message of unity.
He wanted peace, he wanted love, he wanted everybody to try to get along, no matter what color you are or what nationality you are.
Following the march, participants gathered at Bethlehem Baptist Church for a commemorative service. The service featured songs as We Shall Overcome, Lift Every Voice and Sing, and even included a recording of Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech. Minister Bobby Harris of St. Peter's Baptist Church says,
"It was worth his while to fight for our rights."
And that King showed people how to help one another.
It gives me a sense of a blessing that, you know, you seeing the elders and you seeing the young and you seeing the middle age to come to celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as legacy.
Dr. Martin Luther King is remembered as a man who aimed for equality, nonviolence, and bringing communities closer together. Ray Mosley, KVU TV, 25 News Now.
To get more news headlines, weather, and sports, come to our website, crossroadstoday.com. You can also subscribe to the Crossroads Today YouTube channel, hit the like button, click the notification bell to receive alerts in case you ever miss or want to rewatch the news. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, the CDC issues a warning about a dangerous superbug on the rise. Who's most at risk for this deadly infection? Plus, a legal challenge targets new CDC vaccine guidelines for children, the childhood recommendations they call dangerous. In health news tonight, a new drug-resistant and often deadly superbug in the U.S. ABC's Michelle Franzen has more as health experts raise alarms.
Researchers at the CDC have flagged an increase in infections from a superbug bacteria known as NDMCRE. It's called a superbug because it's resistant to nearly every antibiotic doctors have prescribed, making it extremely hard to treat. This infection can cause pneumonia, urinary tract infections, wound infections, and even bloodstream infections. Because it is associated with different types of infections, symptoms can vary. From 2019 to 2023, cases skyrocketed over 400-fold in the U.S., according to the CDC. And in 2020 alone, over 1,000 people died from infections caused by this superbug. Those most at risk for infection include people with weakened immune systems, patients in hospitals, or anyone recently treated with antibiotics or undergoing a medical procedure. The CDC says there are ways to protect yourself from this superbug, like staying informed by checking the CDC website. With this Medical Minute, I'm Michelle Franzen.
7 prominent medical associations are suing to reverse changes to the CDC's childhood vaccine recommendations. The lawsuit calls the overhaul of the vaccine schedule egregious, reckless, and dangerous, and says it should be declared unlawful. Earlier this month, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services announced changes to the vaccine schedule for American children that narrowed recommendations for vaccinations against meningococcal disease, hepatitis B, and hepatitis A. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell will attend Supreme Court oral arguments on Wednesday. The court is scheduled to hear a case addressing whether President Trump can fire Fed Governor Lisa Cook. The Supreme Court initially allowed Cook to remain in office in October as it gets ready to hear arguments. Trump said in August he was removing Cook from her position, citing Federal Housing Finance Agency Director William Pulte's accusations of mortgage fraud. Cook has denied the allegations. Neighborhood patrols and rapid response networks have formed in Minnesota as ICE enforcement operations continue in the state. Community volunteers take turns monitoring neighborhoods for federal immigration vehicles and alerting residents in real time. Members coordinate through encrypted messaging apps, sharing live updates when immigration agents are seen nearby. Volunteers say their presence is intended to reduce tensions and ensure accountability.
It was a bit of a chilly start here this morning, getting to 28, so we had a brief little freeze there for the morning time, but we did get up to 70, and we're going to be seeing that 70 number for quite some time here over the work week before a cold front comes in. We'll talk more about that coming up. Well, it's going to be another chilly morning here for us as temperatures are already dropping. We're at 48 right now. We're starting to see some low 50s up north as well as some mid to upper 50s along the coastline. However, tomorrow morning, we're likely going to be right around this number of 48 as well. It was some low 40s likely up north because we are starting to get more of a southeasterly breeze as of right now, which is going to help maintain our temperatures right around the mid 40s here for us. Now, we are going to be watching because we are going to be seeing some shower activity. A weak disturbance will be moving down south here. As you can see, some of the cloud activity pick up there for the morning time, as well as some moisture returning for us. So we're giving it about a 20% chance for rain around the midday afternoon time for us, but it's going to be relatively on the mostly cloudy skies for us here for tomorrow. As well, 20 to 30% chance for some shower activity here for Wednesday, relatively more up around the 59 corridor towards Wharton and Houston, but we're not going to rule out a possible shower or two here as it continues to push up down the 59 corridor there, and likely as well for Thursday as well. But we're going to be watching here because temperatures are going to be jumping up to the 70s before a big cold front moves in here and drops us right back into the mid 40s here. And this has definitely been the talk right now, is this big Arctic cold front that's going to push down, likely going to be the coldest, the strongest cold front that we'll have all year because there it is Friday, 27, and it's 79 down in Brownsville. Then we go to this next slide and it's 15 up in Amarillo and 71 down in Brownsville. That's a pretty big, substantial difference. You got spring and then you've got North Pole weather up there. And it's going to continue to push down south here for us, but we'll start our morning Saturday in the mid 40s and likely going to continue to stay in the 40s before the sun starts to set. And then we drop down into the 30s and we're watching for some mid to upper 20s for Sunday morning. Now, that's not the only thing we're worried about is the Arctic air. Now there's some Pacific moisture that's going to be involved here for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, thanks to this mid-level low that's going to feed that into our area. That's why we have an opportunity for some rain here for us, as well as some sleet and heavier snow likely up north. Now, this is what Future Tracker in the European model has been showing. So it's showing the shower activity for us here for Friday. We go farther down into Friday night into Saturday morning. We start to see a freezing rain line as well as some more snow activity up north. For us, we're still in the moderate shower activity here for the Crossroads region. And then we start to see 8 p.m. Saturday. Now the line's moving a little bit farther down south, right around the hill country, just north of San Antonio. And we're going to continue to watch this because then we start to see some snow patches also pick up. But Sunday is going to be the day where we really get on that freezing number. And so that's what we're going to watch Saturday night into Sunday to see if we do get any freezing precipitation. As of right now, European model has backed off from this. It was a bit on the aggressive side there yesterday as well as the GFS model, but it has backed off here just a bit just because it's all about timing. You're going to have the rain and the cold weather at the same time for us to get some of that freezing condition there. And by 5 a.m. Sunday, it could likely see that possibly here for Victoria, but right now we're just going to continue to watch to see if the shower activity does persist through Sunday morning here, and then that's when we'll likely see some of the freezing. I will mention though, bridges may be a bit frozen here because of the moisture that we will have for Saturday as well as for Sunday, so definitely want to be aware for your travel plans for the weekend. Overall, 63 for tomorrow, cloudy conditions. Winds will be shifting out of the east-southeast. They're at about 13 miles per hour as well as Port Lavaca and Cuero. But other than that, it's going to be jumping into the 70s here for the remainder of the work week. A little bit of fog there Thursday morning, and then the big cold front Saturday and Sunday where temperatures drop down into the 20s and 30s. Then we got a possible alert day for Sunday just in case we see some of that freezing rain. We'll talk more about that in the coming days. But for now, scan the QR code for more news, weather, and sports. And speaking of sports, we got Ray.
Thank you, Jacob. Catch Cuero's Arissa Carbonera sharing her story from Gobbler legend to college athlete. With Max Williams, we got the full story coming up in sports. The Crossroads has produced countless standout athletes, and Cuero High is no exception. Jordan Whittington, a Cuero State champion, is chasing a Super Bowl spot with the LA Rams. But today, we're going to shine a light on the Lady Gobblers. Arissa Carbonera's legacy in volleyball and basketball is unforgettable. 25 News Now sports director Max Williams caught up with the Cuero star for an update on her college career. Here's the full story.
That's right, I'm currently outside Arissa Carbonera's house. She was a former Cuero standout volleyball and basketball star here for Cuero High School all 4 years. And now she's taken her talents over to University of California, Berkeley, and just finished up her freshman year of volleyball. So with her being back here over the winter break, I had a chance to catch up with her, see how she's doing so far from her freshman year. In a Texas ranch filled with chickens, horses, cows, and 6 golden retrievers, nestled right between Victoria and Cuero, resides Cuero's own Arissa Carbonera. She's now a part of Bear territory at California Berkeley and has put on a season in her freshman year with 4th in the team in kills with 155, 67 digs, and 10 blocks. She highlights how college volleyball game has been a different adjustment for her than high school.
I'm at the next level and I'm facing a bigger block and better defense on the other side. I'm having to find other ways to score other than just, bouncing the ball or whatever. And so I think going back there, this spring, I really want to focus on just my shots.
Knowing there's more improvement to be made, to get even a Division I scholarship at a smaller high school is still a challenge in itself, and Carbonera highlights how she's thankful for all of her teammates having her back.
I was away from home really far, 1,800 miles, so I think being with a group of girls that you can really lean on that kind of become like your second family has been super helpful to me.
On the court, Carbonera's biggest advisor was libero Sophia Johnson, but off the court, Carbonera highlighted how she bonded with her roommate, who is another Cal freshman volleyball star, Maria Strbu. She describes how they've gone through the college life challenges together.
Her name's Maria. She's from Romania, and so this is a big transition for her, coming to the States and everything. And so for me, I was going to a new place somewhere that feels like out of the country for me and going to California. And so we've kind of been working through just this different lifestyle together.
Carbonera building more friendships on and off the court at Cal. She still misses the time being back at home. But during her winter break, she had a chance to return back to Cuero and enjoy some time with family and host a volleyball clinic for Mean Green Volleyball and give out a speech to the Cuero girls basketball team. In all, she's proud to call Cuero her home and all the support that she's got back from the community.
I can inspire them in the same way, the athletics department in Cuero has just done a lot for me as a community and really made me feel important and praised me and everything like that. And so just to give a little bit back to them means everything.
In all, Carbonera's main message to all the Cuero athletes is to believe in themselves and work hard towards their dreams. As you can see, Arissa's been a great role model for the city of Cuero and can't wait to see what she does now going into her sophomore year. Reporting from the Carbonera household, this is Max Williams, KVU TV 25 News Now Sports.
And let's continue talking about the Lavaca River rivalry and preview the next matchups for the Edna and Industrial Schools. The Edna girls are gearing up for a tough challenge later this week. Their district matchup, they'll host the #1 team in their district, the Tidehaven Tigerettes. It's a promising showdown between the two top Crossroads teams, with Edna stars like Mary Jane and Kiera aiming high. And what better way to send a message than taking down the top team in their district? Catch all the action Friday night at Edna at 6:15 p.m. And the National College Football Championship game did deliver on the gridiron tonight, as Indiana's dominance didn't take over the majority of the game. Some elite defense kept it close, but an unexpected interception from Indiana did seal the game, and your 2026 national champions are the Indiana Hoosiers for the first time ever in school history. A great finale for college football, and us fans can start getting ready for the fall and maybe, just maybe, A&M, UT, and yes, even the Oklahoma Sooners could be a topic of discussion this time next year. But congratulations to Indiana, and that does it for your sports. Shawna?
We'll say anything's possible at this point, right, Ray? All right, well, stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather forecast, plus a massive solar storm approaches Earth. But just how far will the northern lights be visible? We'll find out.
We got a good one tonight.
Mom stole
Your
the show
mom did
last
steal
night.
the
Yeah,
show.
she
Your
did.
mom, does she know she's all over the internet today?
I'm pretty sure all her girlfriends are like texting her and sending her every meme and every clip possible for sure.
It's not just Earth that experiences storms. The sun is about to unleash its largest solar radiation storm in more than 20 years. The solar storm can cause auroras, often known as the northern lights, that may be visible here on Earth and maybe even possibly here into South Texas. Weather experts say the auroras may be visible over much of the northern half of the U.S., possibly as far as Alabama, Northern California. Now, this is not something we can just look out into the night sky and see, though. We have to use a camera or some sort of technology.
Just some long exposed camera. I mean, your phone typically can work with that if you get about a 10-second exposure with it. But you gotta make sure you gotta face north. North is the key, as well as, you know, make sure there's no cloud cover, but it's relatively on the clearer side right now. So if you want to step outside and maybe look, you know, see if you get that shot, that'd be awesome. And if y'all could send that in too, that would be incredible as well.
It would be pretty neat to see.
It would be very cool. But speaking of northern lights, I think associate northern lights with very cold weather is what I think. And we're definitely getting some of that Arctic air down here for this weekend. Saturday, we got a 50% chance for some rain and a possible alert day for Sunday. So be aware of that before temperatures will be quite chilly there for the weekend.
All right, those clouds are coming in too.
Yes.
All right, well, thanks for joining us. Be sure to watch Sunrise in the Morning with Carolina and Parker, and have a great night.